guys, oh, sorry, real quick,
Oh, that's
the
right.
quote, I know it got approved last week. Did you guys want to see it?
Yeah. Morning.
Morning.
Didn't know if it needed to be reapproved or.
I needed to sign something for Julie too,
I
right?
think the final would be
From last week?
Okay.
I mean, really, because you weren't here?
Mm-hmm.
Don't,
That's what,
I don't know.
that's what we ended up with on the process quote. About half, a little more than half.
And that's what we voted on then?
Yep.
Okay.
Please enter your participant or moderator code followed by the pound key.
300.
Please say your name followed by the pound key. You are the first participant in the conference.
Usually when I'm calling in, all the fertilizer and I'm on the equipment that's running and everything. So
Yeah, you're on the road. I was,
background noise in my truck is bad now.
I was on the road and running it through the car,
Well,
but usually that's pretty good, you know?
you would think it would be better than listening on your phone. Well, a headset might be the best, which I usually have a headset on when
Oh, you
I'm
do?
calling in. So,
Oh, it's my wife's birthday today. She's almost out of her 20s.
Is that right?
Ooh.
wow.
I
Take her
figured
somewhere
you'd
fun?
appreciate that.
Going to,
That makes it sound like there's a pretty good age gap.
Well, she wanted a sugar daddy, but I don't know if it worked out real well.
It's the other way around, because she's gonna have to work a long time.
Mhm. That Terry, learning lessons every day.
I even went to the HR session on Wednesday afternoon down there. Learned a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
Even Snapchatted a picture from their HR session. But it was actually a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I got a long talk with my dad about when he has to go to the emergency.
Yeah. Can you schedule that?
Yeah. Tuesday night.
Oh, that's why you didn't make it.
oh,
Got him home at 1, and the only way they'd let him leave is if someone stayed at his place, and my sister couldn't because she had Sam and Kelsey's kids. So then I had to stay with him that night too. So.
Mm.
pass me a pen, please.
Yeah, because I
Thank
really
you.
wanted to go down and talk to some of the legislators.
Well, they're kind of there and not there all of a sudden. There wasn't a lot of availability, so.
Well, I wouldn't want to be around a bunch of supervisors I'm voting to take power away from either.
He came down for lunch, boom, he was back up to the committee room.
Which one's that?
Well, Henry. And I saw Rowley from a distance once, and
I actually talked to Henry for quite a while. I didn't see Dave. I don't know.
well, are we ready?
This time.
Say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For approval of minutes and agenda,
Now I'll make a motion to approve this agenda.
Second?
get a motion from Jensel, a second from Smith to approve the minutes and agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Scott Minders, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
Morning.
Morning.
We have, our dirt crew out and about. They've been doing some ditch cleaning this week and have some more ditch cleaning and tile holes and things like that, to work on here this spring. Some of our guys are, updating our culvert inventory, and so they're kind of, jumping around to culverts in their territory and updating the information about them and, making work orders if we find problems with them. So we're actually kind of making a lot of work for ourselves, but things that need to be fixed anyway.
So what's that process? You inspect the inside of them or the ends or?
Yeah, they're just making sure that they can find them, and if, they're buried, then we'll make a work order to dig them out. If they're clean, we'll log any information about them, length, size, material, cover, skew, what the ends look like.
You guys already have a list of existing culverts, or?
We do. So there's been several iterations of inventories built over the years, and we took the most recent one and digitized it into a GIS map that the County Engineer Service Bureau helped us put together. So we have, we think, early 2000s data that we're trying to, catch up to today. So, 25 years worth of work. And also back then they had information, or they had notes about things they couldn't find or things that seemed funny. And so we've been trying to find those and update them.
Is this just road crossing or is it also?
Just road crossings. It doesn't include any driveway culverts at this point. It'd be sort of another monumental step to try and include those. And those change a lot more. People moving driveways and things. We got some guys doing some sign repairs. We had a couple weeks ago or a month ago, we had our guys check reflectivity on half the county on signs, and so we're getting some of those signs replaced too here this week. Just a lot of odds and ends work, catch up stuff while we're not stockpiling or hauling to the roads. Otherwise, some of the blade guys are out doing some blading too when there's moisture and it's not frozen.
What did I talked to Ethan about up by the cemetery right there. What did they decide to do there?
I think he had brought it up, and I can't remember how I settled on it, but I think he said they could do some ditch cleaning and try to shape it so they could hold it a little better. I can't remember what they had to do, if they didn't do any driveway pipe work or.
There was, I can't remember if there was any of that or not, but I know they were gonna add some dirt so it wouldn't fill with water there. There's always a standing water right there. They wanna be able to raise it a little bit so that they can seed it with grass and mow the whole thing.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen a work order on it, so
All right.
I'm not sure. But I know that he'd mentioned it and said that they could come up with something that was gonna work out. I think.
Well, they were all elated that he got there right away and took a look at it, so.
Only other thing I was going to mention today was this tile crossing that we have, and I just wanted to make sure we're good to go on it. I sent you some information about it.
I'm guessing that's going to be contingent on our discussions in drainage, whether the rest of the project is an acceptable project.
Okay, if that's, I know Chris isn't here, so I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Well, then we better discuss it now as part of it.
I guess it was kind of contingent on what Hyman Dinger said, didn't it? I haven't heard anything since he's talked to, oh, come on, Helgeson. Sean,
Sean.
there you go. gonna talk to him and give him the options. These were the two options. Cost wise, this one here would Heimendinger unfortunately has got the highest percentage of it. And really doesn't want it from what I understand, so he was willing to go with this, but this gives him absolutely no benefit. This here might actually give him some benefit on some drowned out ground of his.
Oh,
But it's gonna cost him like almost 3 times as much, 2.5 times as much. But,
mhm.
yeah, it's gonna require a crossing of the secondary roads, which,
So was one a repair and
well,
one's an
no,
improvement?
No, they're both
or
repairs.
They're both repairs, no improvement.
Well, it'll improve the drainage, but it's not an improvement because the tile is, not at the original depth. The original depth was 3-some feet, and now it's only like 2.7 feet or something like that.
So what is the more expensive one gonna do different?
That was a longer repair where they lowered the existing tile and then kind of lessened the grade a little bit, so they'd still have some.
But the outlet's gonna be the same height.
The profile sent you, there's a blue line on there. Basically, if they go back far enough where it's steeper grade, they can
Lower it
drop
and
the
go.
entire tile.
Or
So
they,
it made it longer.
yeah, the other one's
Yeah,
just a
to go a
shorter.
long ways back, yeah.
The other one's just a shorter fix, which really won't do anything for Heimendinger, but he'll still have to pay for some of it.
Right now, they got a whole lot in the field, where they've started expose the tile, and it's about 3 foot deep in its lowest spot there.
Is it peat ground or something?
Well, the south side I can't say for sure, but on the north side, we were walking around in Gordy's there, real peaty. I'm not the best judge of that, but I could tell how kind of fluffy it was under my feet.
Usually
I'm sure you could feel it.
most traditionally soggy spots have got at least some peat in them.
Yeah.
Okay, 6 is Kroll's.
Yes. Everything for them is a K and a number.
So how much, it's just been explored is all? It's just,
I think they said they had put 200 feet in before we decided to get together on it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that 200 was put in. If they were to do the bigger fix, I think that would have to be replaced again, wouldn't it?
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't go back and then lower it at
Oh,
the start, so
good
you
grief.
gain some grade. My guess is that they'll probably use the cheaper. This is what Heimendinger want to do, but fortunately, if it's in a state of disrepair, says you shall maintain.
Heimendinger is not excited about doing well, either of them, but
Any of them,
definitely
yeah.
not the big one.
And that's since he talked to get the option, since he talked to Sean,
He talked to Chris,
Dr. Chris.
and he was not excited about it.
What's absolutely the best for the district is the expensive one. But the petition was made by Gordy. Yeah, the cheaper one will take care of his issue, I believe. So,
Lesser of two evils.
yeah.
When was the petition filed?
Yesterday.
After 200 foot had been put in. the 200 foot they put in was a repair?
Yes.
This is the blue line, the deepening of the tile, kind of gradually and gaining about a foot, 1.1 by the road, he was thinking. Well, there's 6/10 across the road that they gain two for some reason.
I mean, it just
How big is the tile?
10 inches at that point, isn't it? Yeah, I really can't understand why they made it to where, I mean, the same people in the end always end up paying for it, but, when secondary roads is part of it, then people way down in the southwest corner of the county are getting help pay for that, and then people up there get, or in northeast corner are paying for stuff in the southwest. I mean, to me, it should just be a drainage district thing completely. They should pay for the road crossing and everything. But, because in the end, the same people pay for it all anyhow. And, it just seems like if you've got something that happens in your area that benefits you, you're the one who should pay for it. So it seems odd to me that, secondary roads is any part of it at all, other than the fact that they should take care of maybe having the option to do the work in the right way themselves. But the paying shouldn't necessarily come out of their budget. But that's not the system we live in, so.
You know the rules, Bill.
But
You know the rules.
what are the rules?
All is not fair.
In love, war, and drainage?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I did coin that.
And unfunded mandates.
Oh, yeah.
Was that yours? That was your quote?
Oh, I coined that years ago.
Wow,
I'd never heard it before. Someone else may have already said it, but,
awesome.
I just happened to think of it once when somebody was really crabbing about something.
All right.
Sometimes you just need to be reminded of the rules.
So has
Or just
this
become a rule breaker.
been reclassified, this whole area, when?
Yeah,
We did.
I got a printout here, so it's probably within the last 6-8 years.
What district is it?
18.
18, last 23. 18, we cleaned it all out. We did was it an improvement on the other side of Scarville?
Boy, I don't know. 18 feels like it hasn't been that long ago.
Yeah, it was just, we did the whole ditch clean out, so that probably started the whole thing. And then Gordy had one on the east side of Scarville. We had to go across the road.
18, is that the one with the railroad and all that mess?
Yeah, that's all where we did that improvement through the railroad. And this is, according to my map, it's southwest of the railroad one. It's a different plan. It's not coming up.
I mean, it'd be nice to have a crystal ball to know where if you went with the expensive repair that it actually would do him any good, Heimendinger any good on his side, where it would actually drain that or not. You know, so it might not either, so,
It'd be deeper, but it wouldn't be any
yeah.
Bigger.
So
So Heimendinger's on the south side of the road then,
north side.
north side.
That's where they're got their
Can we
holes
see
in
that?
it. Sure.
Maybe easier to see
Yeah.
on your sheet than.
Yeah.
Are you good to do that, or you gotta look up the email?
Yep, this is Heimendinger's here. This is where they kind of have a hole dug. And then this is Gordy's over here. And so if he can get this point deeper on the south side of the road, then he has a deeper outlet for his tile work. That's what his goal is.
And that's within the code to deepen that. As long as it's not deeper up there.
It's not.
That's what I
as-
was wondering, that's not an improvement
It's
when
not
it's
an
deeper?
improvement because the original depth is supposed to be about a foot deeper.
Was deeper, and it's peaked and it's
So
moved around, or?
it's possibly floated up, or there's been some erosion, or whatever it is. It's not as far below the surface as it was when it was designed.
So their work would start where downstream? Do the whole lateral?
Right now, and the cheap, I'll call it the cheap option, what they've been referring to, you got a hole dug about here,
Yeah.
and they're gonna replace this up to the road.
And then the
They
other.
said the
Go under
long
the
one would
road.
be to go all the way to
Oh, I
to
see.
basically this fence line a little further
Yeah.
and replace that whole
And
thing.
whose property is this up here then?
And
Oh,
I
I
can't
can't
remember
remember that. I believe they said something about it once, but it was only, the name was only mentioned once.
yeah,
Okay.
so
Hmm.
Susan, that's I guess the reason why.
Well, I know that outlet can't be any lower, for sure.
But-
At the ditch.
Yeah, the ditch.
Yeah. It cannot be lower
Yeah.
without an improvement.
Ultimately, this will still dump into the same grade and size of tile.
Yeah.
Just, we think that crossing is working. It's hard to tell because there's not water flowing through it right now. And, so it kind of took them a while to explain to us why we are replacing a working tile crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Gaining depth is what they say. It's like 5.5 feet deep right now on the north side, or excuse me, on the south side. But I guess he needs the extra 1.5 feet that they can gain by doing this project. That's what they're telling me.
So where it starts and goes to the first field, it's like Lynn Cleveland, Arden Thorson, Natalie Fell, Lois Jamgard, like a whole family of names. Then it
That's
goes-
way up here.
And then when it goes into the next parcel to the east, that'd be Heimendinger. And then when it goes south into the next parcel, that's Heimendinger. And then to the east of that is Yegi's on 24, flat 24, and south of it was the K6 and Gordon Anderson. So it's kind of a determination whether it's an improvement or not.
I don't know if I need to weigh in on that, but if the project's gonna go forward, we'll do the tile crossing. Probably would end up being our crew that does it. They'll just get up to the road, we'll do the crossing, and then they'll do the rest. So
What's that cost the county?
I guessed 5,000. I didn't do a detailed estimate on it, but we try to do one size bigger than the tile on both sides of the road, and we for this size probably would use PVC for durability and lifespan.
And it's just straight across?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think it crosses a little bit of an angle now, but pretty well 90 degrees. It'll end up being pretty deep by the time.
Looks like there's
We got 5-foot ditches, and it's got 5.5 foot of depth from the top of the intake, so it'd be 10 foot deep by the time we get to the middle of the road. Take a little bit of dirt moving. So 12-inch crossing, so kind of amazing how much 12-inch PVC costs. Sean said they really weren't too interested in doing it than having us pay them for it. Just extra complications going through a road that they weren't interested in, I guess,
They weren't interested in what? I missed that,
in
sorry.
doing the work
Oh,
on
crossing
contract
the
with the
road.
county. Yeah, the
I
crossing,
see.
the road crossing.
Just assume the county did it.
Mhm.
So you would schedule it when it's convenient for you guys then?
Yeah, I told Gordy that we could probably do it this spring, and, if Helgeson does their work soon, let's say, we could do it this spring, and then he could kind of decide on the north side of the road when that would work for him. But we try to get tile crossings in our schedule as soon as we know about
Sure.
them, you know.
Get everybody going.
Yeah. We don't have any big projects until just the one after July. We're doing small projects for the next 4 months.
So if they were to do the more expensive project, how would that affect what they already did?
It would be a waste.
Yeah, no, it was,
And who's
Who will pay
paying
for that?
I don't know. I don't think any of us really thought that the more expensive repair was gonna
Go.
be
It's gonna
the
fly.
favorite, plan based on David's opinion, so. I don't know. That idea was proposed as an option after the digging had started.
yeah, and unfortunately, what was already put there, if it ended up being that way, would the same, I mean,
It would all be
It'd have to be
2 foot,
drainage
too
district.
shallow.
you know, yeah. There would be no other recourse to pay for it, I don't think. Other than if, Gordy and Helgeson's wanted to eat it, I'm guessing that's not gonna be the case.
You know, the trustees should really have a say before the project starts.
Yeah, no, it's, yeah. Yeah, it
That would be ideal.
It was really nice that we had all these options before there was any digging notes.
Happens quite often. That's one thing
So-
about Yegi, he called me as soon as he dug a hole and let me know he was digging and trying to figure it out. And
Yeah, no, he's real good about calling about that stuff.
Well,
Anyways,
it would be, how do we have to report this to the people in the drainage district?
if it's over 10,000, we usually
So these
report it as an expense that's
Both
going to be
over.
incurred.
Yeah, Chris will write a letter and
And I suppose if you go to a more expensive one, it'd
Then
be
what
better to have some,
I thought Sean said about 4,000 for this,
extra.
from where they're at to the road.
So what's the 12,000 then?
what's already done plus that?
See, we don't have
Yeah.
an estimate on exactly, so that's,
Well, don't we have to let all the people in the
So did
district?
she just come up with certain numbers, guessing?
she was just plugging in
Okay. So
whatever
this
numbers.
is not
yeah.
actually an estimate.
Those aren't estimates, no, those are,
A
let's just see
guesstimate.
what it would do.
So if it was $4,000, Heimendinger's gonna end up, paying a fourth of that or so, or a little over a fourth of it.
Sure, so it
Little over
illustrates that
1,000.
story,
Another
yeah.
$1,000. And on this one, he's at what, anyway?
Well, so he's paying
There.
just a little over a fourth
Right,
of it.
but another 1,000 for what's been done already,
Well,
possibly.
this is just a given number.
Right.
It's not, nothing to do with it. So we're just estimating.
Well,
at-
the easy thing to do is this, the
The lower end.
The
or
lower
up
one.
the top of the end.
but do you think that these folks would like to have a say in it?
Oh, they will get a say once they decide what is actually gonna be done. I mean, Heimendinger, I guess, has already talked to Chris, but, we haven't heard anything officially back from, Sean and, yet, so.
But does he have enough to stop it?
it's the repair, so you can't stop anything.
Yeah, no,
Oh, the whole thing's a repair, you're
If it's
right,
a repair.
if it's a repair.
it was an improvement, and of course,
Yeah, I guess guess my maybe hang up is that we're normally repairing tile that's broken. And the deficiency here is depth. We'll call it.
Well, and every peat field in the county has an issue with that.
Yeah.
Well.
So there may be multiple ways to repair it, let's say.
So it could be 3/4 of a mile of tile. I'm guessing it gets less after it splits from 24, or this one was 10-inch. So maybe the lower end was probably bigger.
It's 12 after it gets real close to the drainage ditch. There's maybe 1,000 feet of 12-inch on the tail ends. It's a long ways to the 12 from here.
So it's about 2/10 of a mile of 10-inch
I think it's 3,000 feet of 10-inch total.
total.
So you were out there, huh?
I haven't fixed the valve there, I was just.
So following it from the ditch to the road, I had approximately 4,000 feet.
Yeah, so 1,000 feet of 12-inch, 3,000 feet of 10.
So way back here, it's 12-inch. Probably.
So the 10-inch gains some grade as you go further down too, so there's more to the story than just the size here.
And one thing that was kicked around at one point was replacing the 10-inch with 12-inch with a lesser grade, and you'd still have the same drainage coefficient as what was originally designed. But I mean, that was gonna be more expensive yet, so it was just briefly kicked around.
Have you guys seen a situation like this before? And if so, what did you do?
I know there have been instances where they've upsized and flattened tiles
There's been a couple
with
of things.
under, engineering design and called it the same coefficient. I know that's happened.
Usually, when there's been one that's too shallow, there's also a break in it somewhere where it's been run over, or egg-shaped and flushed out, or tile washout.
Yeah.
So what's
This
in there
case,
right
it
now
doesn't
is
seem like that's the case here where they're getting
But,
smashed.
well, there is one tile hole out there now. I mean, so it has done that, which would say that in the future, it could go in another spot. Unless they're careful about where they take their grain cart,
Yeah, I mean,
which seems to be the equipment that probably does the most damage.
I think I saw this field on fire last year.
Sure.
Let's see if it's the right one.
Hopefully not while there's a crop in it.
Yes, there was a combining as fast as he could.
Oh,
It was
trying,
Oh, I know that
trying,
one.
trying to create a
Yeah,
fire break?
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
That's spooky, isn't it?
Oh, years ago, we had that standing cord by Buffalo Center there, just north of town. And then got a long ways before somebody got out there. Somebody just happened to have their disc or digger or whatever hooked up, and they went out there, quick made a fire break. Otherwise, that thing would have kept blowing on forever.
Well, so until we have any estimates, I don't think they should be really doing anything out there more until they have good estimates.
Oh, yeah, they were gonna
Before
decide
the
what they were gonna
trustees.
do and then come up with a price, and then it'll be discussed in the future. We don't make any decisions.
So we don't have to
today.
make any
No.
suggestions or directions.
We'll wait to see what the landowners wanna do, and go from there.
Thanks for the information.
That way there, you got a copy of that probably already.
Anything else for a second?
Nope, that's all except for what's on the agenda.
Okay, you guys have anything for it?
Nope.
All right. Consider for approval final voucher for bridge replacement project BRS CO 95 70 60-95.
This is the bridge replacement on R20 north of Buffalo. Project was awarded at 461,000 and change, and ended up paying about 458. So we did a nice job on the design and kept contingencies to a minimum. This is the final payment, so that all the paperwork and everything has been submitted, and it's gone through the DOT's federal aid audit, and this is the last step. Eric did a nice job with the administration on this project.
Which one was this again, you said?
On R20,
R20.
The long angled one, kind of.
yeah, it's got a big couple of bends in it. A box culvert is what was put in.
When will that happen?
No, that's the project that we completed.
This is
That's the
final.
completed one, so this is the
This is the
end.
final
Oh,
payment, yeah.
nice.
Well, you can't see any issues with the final payment, can you?
Is that the one that was
No,
during
I
harvest?
can't.
last
The only issue is we got a little bump there already, and we'll have to fix that separately. That's not really something we can fault the contractor for. It just happens.
Yeah, it's just settled. That's where it would have been kind of nice to just leave it gravel over the winter in a sense, but,
Yeah, it has its own nuisance to
This
it.
started in early fall, or?
Right.
Yeah.
Remember, we had this conversation. We were expecting it to be this spring, and then all of a sudden they called me and said, "Hey, we're ready." And it was like right when harvest was starting.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was the rerouting and the dust issue
Yeah,
out there.
Right, the 2 miles of
There was
gravel.
some weeping and gnashing of teeth up there.
Yeah, ultimately, we didn't hear a lot of grumbling about it.
I did.
The project went
You did.
relatively quickly.
Oh, no, yeah, it was.
I grumbled a
It was,
little about it.
it was closed
over
for
there.
how long?
Was it like 3 weeks at
Yeah,
the
it might
most?
have been
Maybe
3
two.
weeks.
I only went that road one time.
But,
And we had a hang up too, because they dropped one of the pieces and had to repair it, and that probably cost us 3 days. So if not for that, we maybe would have been 2 weeks clean.
I had one guy that demanded that we stop the project before it started.
I did some due diligence and called some farmers I know in that area, and I got go-aheads from the ones I talked to. And of course, they're maybe, the people already knew, but
Mhm.
It created us some inconvenience because, well, we combined that field right there that, Lee Masters, they just sold it now. But, right there on the northwest corner of the ditch there, that going up around, Myers' old place where, Mitch, or not Mitch, Geesking
Geese
lives.
King, yeah. Who bought that, by the way, do you know?
Yes, I heard too.
I'll look it up.
It's terrible, I can't say it now because it's someone I know too. Why can you remember all that but not the name?
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the final voucher for bridge replacement project, BRS CO 95 70 60 95.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Smith to approve the final voucher for the bridge replacement project from last fall. All those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, aye.
I waited. All those opposed? Motion carries. Consider for approval utility permit for Heartland Power in Forest Township sections 22, 27, and 34.
Yep, this is a overhead to underground project. They have been doing a few of these here and there. I'm not sure what the overall strategy is, but most of this is on county gravel roads, and part of it kind of cuts through some sections. So we've reviewed it, all of it, I guess, even the parts that don't go through road right away, and Eric's talked to them about the drainage tile and ditches that they'll be crossing. And so they'll be, boring underneath all the ditches and tile that we can make them aware of. Be buried in the back slope of the ditch. It's only about, 3 miles or so.
I often wonder where they start burying these, which has gotta be considerably more expensive. Is it an area where it's prone to extracurricular gusts or something to where they have more damage to the above ground lines, or? It's the only thing I can think of why they would wanna.
Yeah. I haven't asked that question, and I don't know it.
I was always gonna ask that question of one of them, but I keep forgetting.
But, I mean, we're continuing to try and get them to put their utilities in the least problematic location for any future landowners or county work, and it's tough. There's now a lot buried. Some of these might have 2-3 fiber optic cables and electric.
Yeah,
All in the
I
same
think
right of
people
way.
would be surprised if they knew how much was
Yeah. So
in your
we're trying to
ditches.
make sure it's deep enough and, not in the way if any driveways ever get moved or anything like that. And, sometimes it's, they're willing
What
to,
I understand, like buried lines have a little more leaching of the electricity or whatever than what, because the ground is just like this, I don't know, static or whatever. They lose that they would keep up on that. Now, whether that's true, it's just something I read once. It was probably something online.
Something to do with the turbines.
Something.
Because everything's
Yeah.
truthful.
Well, this is in Bill's district.
Is it all of mine?
Yes, it
It's
is.
yours, is it?
Nope.
Oh, after the redistricting, it might be all of mine.
Unless part of it, the very northern corner might be mine, but
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the utility permit for Heartland Power and Forest Township sections 22, 27, and 34.
I'll second it. Got a motion from Jen Fold and a second from Derby to approve the Heartland Power utility permit in Forest Township. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
How is that all recorded?
well, Heartland keeps maps of all their stuff in a big GIS system. We keep archived copies of what they submit in a system. We don't have it really GIS mapped.
You just know where they did it.
We could look it up with some digging. It's not in a convenient way, but we can search. We'll be able to search this permit by township, utility type, by Heartland Power. We index it by a few things.
So there's only a mile of this actually along the roadway,
Okay.
and then the rest of it goes through field,
Yeah.
crossing the road at the blacktop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Starts at a blacktop, crosses the blacktop, but there's only 1 mile up there past Red
I wonder
Shed.
if it continues on into Hancock. Whether they
It
stop
probably
there.
does, because that's the county line.
Yeah.
But actually,
I mean, I know the line continues on into Hancock, obviously, but whether the work is going to continue on.
I'm not sure if they have the south of in Hancock or not. I know they have a little bit in Hancock, but I don't know if this is one. That might be Prairie View down there. Prairie Energy, whatever. All right, I got that.
Is there any way to, I can't get off the subject, sorry, to require that they have some easier way for us to look these up when and if we ever would need to? I mean,
I suppose there is an easier way. You just call them and they have all the information.
Yeah. I mean, they've never hid any of their information, and the other part is whenever you call one call, they have to locate it.
sure,
So
that's
we've
true.
never really needed maps of it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they have to locate it themselves. It's not
Yeah.
on our shoulders or,
Right.
those have to go to Carla too.
Yeah.
Consider for approval fiscal year 2025 secondary road budget and 5-year construction program.
We should have just called this the Scott agenda.
We've talked about the budget probably enough. This is a mirroring of the budget that you've approved. It kind of lumps it into category totals a little bit, so it reads a little differently. Is there anything you'd like to discuss in the budget? Okay, and then the program, we've also discussed quite a bit because of the potential TIF projects. And so I have front-loaded our program so that we won't need to amend the program if we want to bid projects as early as this December or January or something. So we have totals.
But we still have the ability to pull any of these projects if we decide.
Certainly, and that doesn't take any action. They just sit in there until we approve a new
Right.
program next year. Yeah, so we have about 6 million plugged into construction on here, and if you remember, the 5-year program only covers what is legally required as construction. So bridge replacements, asphalt resurfacing that's more than 2 inches, we would probably include it all anyway. So it doesn't include things like microsurfacing or replacement of bridges less than 20 feet long. Any other things we think of as maintenance, slurry leveling, some of those things.
I saw one road construction type where it's a hot in place, but it doesn't do the total milling, it does scarifying instead.
There's
You see
2
that?
that I'm aware of, and the one that we did, they have heaters, right? And then behind each heater they have,
Milling.
it's a milling head, so it's a rotating drum with bits, and it's not real aggressive. It's only trying to kind of
Little layer at a time.
a little bit at a time what's heated up enough so not breaking rocks. The other way that is being promoted in Iowa is it has tines. So
Scarifying.
after each heater, there's like a set of tines, like let's say the back of a field cultivator, right? It's like just dragging pretty roughly so that everything that's hot enough to start breaking up will then kind of peel off. And that method, it doesn't seem like they're able to get quite the depth of the other one. So
It depends on your
Dynacustrol,
conditions and how much you want to do. They sound like it was more for smaller projects.
I'd say more for thinner projects. So if you say you want to recycle the top 1 inch, I think they can compete pretty well. But like we did 2, and I think Dynacustrol can even go as deep as 2.5. Then they're really the main contractor in this area that's.
It's probably a less expensive way.
The scarifying.
I think most of the cost goes into the heat and the
Oil,
right.
rejuvenating agent that they put in there. That's where I would say.
I asked,
People have asked me how they turn around.
Yeah.
I said, you know what, I saw them doing it and I watched them, but I never saw them turn around.
Yeah, I mean,
Must
take
be
a lot of
bust
room.
it all, uncouple it all, and then
Yeah, the each truck is separate, but they got to jack up all the equipment and then pull out onto a side road, back all the way back, and then ease around, and they all have to do that and set up in a line before they get started.
Sure.
Quite
I said,
a process. I mean, they asked
I
all
would have
those
liked to have seen them do it, but I never,
this
thought
other
that
one is a much
action.
shorter train, I think.
okay.
It's not as
Oh.
much equipment.
Usually, I was given the impression that the length of the train is proportional to the depth that they get, because the more heaters, the deeper they can
That makes
heat
sense.
into the pavement.
yeah, that makes
take off
sense.
one section and come over.
Yeah,
and do the
we
next one.
we have 5 or so units after each other, and that's 2 inches. So you think each one is
Taking off a
taken off,
half, whatever.
yeah.
Hmm.
Inch.
Do you think there's any value in the scratch surface, so you're laying it back down rather than a completely smooth mill
Well,
surface?
the milling didn't really leave it smooth, I wouldn't say. They
Rough enough.
generally milling leaves you pretty good texture, just because those bits may be, you know, they might be half-inch apart. By the time they all go around, you have these little kind of parts that it misses, whatever. It's pretty, I don't know what I would equate it to.
Kind of serrated.
Yeah, so, you know, the good part about it is it has good texture so that the new mat sticks really well to it, but it's also hot so that you don't need to tack the surface and glue it down. It just kind of has a good thermal bonding, we'll call it. So, I don't know, happy with it. Learned a lot from the guys when I was down in Florida. When
The Scarifying one, they sound like it works good in towns for street projects.
Sure, and I know that industrial doesn't really like to work in towns because of their length of their training.
Yeah. All right, so you got that.
Budget and program are two separate things.
And this is updated every year, going out 5 years.
Yep, updated every year, and most often we at least have one amendment if something changes. Usually bridge ratings come back and helps us reprioritize.
So when you say amendment, is that an additional one, or is that a reorganization of it?
Usually it's advancing a project from future years to next year or this year. You know, if we had a bridge that was in pretty good condition and it fell from 19 tons to 10 or something, we might want to move it up.
So you have real estate in there, real estate and buildings.
Yeah, most of that is the 800,000 that we've been carrying forward for our four-city shop project.
That's what I assumed, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, there's another 50,000 and change in there for just general upkeep of buildings, things like boiler, furnace work, roof. We got to do some roof repairs on the Thompson shop this year. We're gonna put a coating
The
on
one downtown or the shop?
the one on the highway. The newer one.
Heater.
I think it leaks a little bit. I'll call it partly preventative maintenance. I think it's got some corrosion issues up there too.
It's a steel roof.
Steel roof, yep. It's got sprayed in insulation underneath now, and I kind of feel like maybe that's not the best for the roof.
So that's spray foam.
Spray foam to the underside of the steel. And,
Yeah, it creates weight.
Not much
Well,
weight, but it's.
Probably is the moisture issue, it's more
yeah.
moisture,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
I think they, you know, it
Condensation.
bonds to the steel when they spray it on, but I think there are places where it's not bonded.
Yeah, I usually recommend having a barrier between,
Yeah,
but you were probably trying to do a fix for the leaks with the foam, because they say they can do that too.
okay. It was done before I was here, but
That's the purpose, I guess.
has joined.
Did you hear road noise when I called in on Tuesday?
Do you have it on your car speaker? Those are better than others. Ethan's new one is really good.
I had a hard time hearing. So that's why we moved this out.
I see.
Because it kind of sounded like I could hear Carla great for some reason. Maybe your voice just projects better, Carla.
I had very old grandparents that were very hard hearing. And so all my life, all my parents taught me was to speak up, speak up. So
What? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 25 secondary road budget and 5-year construction program.
I'll say,
Got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Smith to approve the 2025, fiscal year 2025 secondary road budget 5-year construction program. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
I was thinking aye.
thought it in your head.
I try not to get inside your head, Bill.
It's a scary place.
So, auditor's office will discuss drainage matters. Chris is not here. Did we have anything else for drainage?
I don't.
I'll mention one thing since it came up here, but Ron Innan called me about a tile hole down in border of Grant and Linden, and apparently it had been reported before, and it's so close to some power from NextEra
Oh, the,
that they refused to de-energize the power, so I'm doing a little bit of digging on that because I think that's not right.
Oh,
That's, yeah, that's just,
I know what you're talking
Gene
about.
Hartman was also in on that one. I think he's the first one who reported the hole.
Yeah, so it's
It's
been
right in
reported
the-
by, I mean, maybe 5 people, and they've sent contractors out there several times, and
Yeah,
they're just getting stuck, so I'm gonna try to put the squeeze on them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can't refuse us that access.
and it's close to the substation then, or?
No, they're electrical cabinets.
they've got an electrical cabinet right there, and it's only just a few feet away from the hole.
So do you think they hit the tile when they put it in?
One called it yesterday, so I can go look today.
Yeah, I would guess not, but yeah, it's possible.
Gosh,
It's
I
just
remember
showing
us
up
talking
now.
about this a while back.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
one
I
is from
kinda forgot about it.
2020.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we've talked about it several times.
Yeah, time to get that
see if
figured
I
out.
can do some damage, I guess.
So I forgot all about it.
La Harva's been out there and
Yagi was out there once too, looking at it.
you
Yep,
Well, you've got all the numbers to call.
yeah, I'll do my best.
So do you think it's just one turbine that has to be shut down, or do you think it's a whole?
I'm sure it's a collection line.
Yeah,
The number of cabinets they have there and where the turbines are, I'm sure it's big money. But we gotta fix it.
well, what would be nice is if it would happen a day when the wind ain't blowing anyway.
Maybe that makes a difference, I don't know. I mean, we can
Well,
start coordinate that.
it'd be disappointing if they were actually working on turbines and didn't tell us they were shutting it down for that.
Yeah,
We could have done it then.
yeah, when they were repurposing them, I can't remember if those were in on that or not.
I think they were.
Seems like they might have been, yes.
No,
Anything else for drainage?
all I got.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Consider for approval adding Travis Jarks to drainage contractor list. Is that what he's going by?
I got his insurance stuff out of the vehicle. But I haven't heard him call himself anything else other than charts, drainage,
You
or
say you got it with you?
Sounds good.
Might as well just go get it so we get it right.
Who is Travis?
Roger Jarks' son,
From
Cassuth County.
He
Cassuth
actually
County.
used to.
He lives at Mountain Center.
Okay.
My dad's neighbor.
Okay.
I was gonna send his name to somebody yesterday, his contact information. I didn't have it in here. Oh, it's
Under Sparky. That's what mine is too.
What was his dad's name?
Roger Jarks. Supervisor.
Yep.
Did you go to the EMS presentation by Kyle on Friday morning? Because that was one of the choices on Friday morning was
No, I was at the,
Q&A of EMS.
I was at the county one, the, oh, like, talking about how counties. I don't know. It was more kind of HR stuff and other stuff.
I figured might as well prove the right name. If he's insured, then he's got a name on it.
Mm-hmm.
So he does this and has another job, or this is his full-time?
I don't know. I know he was doing mechanics from home at one point.
Hmm.
Might be supplementing because
Did you talk to Bill about going to EMS thing on the 29th?
have you
This
heard
Thursday?
anything about it, EMS networking thing? On the 29th down in Story County somewhere, wasn't it? They're starting it, Wright County kind of started it since they were the first to have a EMS levy. They're getting people together that have levies to
Oh, really?
To
Kind of
network.
conference and network together and,
just in its infancy, they're gonna have their first networking.
oh, that's a great idea.
Gosh, I gotta send out the agenda for tomorrow too.
What's tomorrow?
Night, the council, EMS council.
Advisory, come on, advisory council.
I thought it was, why did I have that in as Thursday night?
But the 20th.
Is it under his name then?
Named insured and mailing address, Travis Jarks.
Okay, so we'll just go with that.
Okay.
Okay, so you wanna
I'll make a motion to approve adding Travis Jarks to the drainage contractor list.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Smith to add Travis Jarks to the drainage contractor list. He's been vetted through the paperwork process. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
And you've given all that to Chris.
Yes, the bad part was this insurance thing expired in 2/25,
Oh,
but his new
Well-
one,
2/25.
That's last month.
February 25 next, the year
no,
25?
No, the one we have here, he has a new one that expires in 25.
Oh,
Oh,
But,
Let's see.
so we have to get that yet, but
Oh.
his insurance company didn't mail it to him until last Friday, and he had not received it yet as yesterday, otherwise I'd have had it with me.
yeah, so we have the information.
But yeah, we
The
have,
company's insured by,
yeah, she's got a copy of the expired one.
Do they have to, all of the contractors have to update that yearly?
Yes.
Yearly.
And she's completely up on it,
Good.
because we've had to drop at least one probably.
Mhm.
All right, go on to open forum. What do you have for us?
Hello, can you hear me? This is Thad Wonder.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I was following up to the meeting that I attended a few weeks ago or maybe a month ago about the building permit that was issued, and Kelsey and Matt were gonna get together, and I haven't heard anything, so I just,
No, we
Okay.
haven't heard anything from them either.
okay. Do we have an expected timeline?
Actually, she hasn't been to even one of our meetings since then, so I guess we'll have to get a hold of her and find out where they are on that. It was kind of
Okay.
in her court,
She's gone this week, isn't she?
yeah, so she won't be back till next week. So when she gets back next week, we'll contact her and find out where she's at on that.
Okay, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Yep. All right, anything else for open forum? Hearing none, consider for approval pay application number 5, Larson Contracting for the Public Health Building Addition.
You should have another tour. Have you been down there lately?
Yeah, last couple of weeks ago we were there.
Yeah.
They were just starting the taping of the sheetrock.
I walked through it yesterday with Travis, and they've got the drywall on, they're sanding it down, and he said painters will be here next week.
Wow. Boy, when you're painting, you're getting there, aren't you?
Yep,
Still lots of detail work to do yet.
yes,
This is the slow time of it.
right. We did get the doors, automatic doors on the existing building last week.
How did we end up with on the locking?
Well, I had to get keys for this building because we're still in this building, and the other door is not done yet for the new building. So when we get into the new building, I'm collecting the keys, and then we will give them Bob's.
Okay.
So,
Right now, your access to the building is through the new locks or the old?
yes,
Okay.
the new locks. Yep,
And the nurses have that access now?
correct.
Okay, all right. So at least
Yep.
they're able to get in.
Yes, yep, yep. When Travis was here yesterday, I did have him look at the doors because I think with the new buttons, they're opening rather slowly, so he was gonna get in contact with Grow and those guys, so when they come back to do the doors on the new building, they can look at these and adjust that because they're really, really slow. So, otherwise, they're really nice.
Good.
Like them a lot.
So that's on the existing building, the two are, or?
Yes, yep. They got the two in the foyer, in the facing east, and the one south.
Right. I'll make a motion to approve the pay application for Larson Contracting for the Public Health Building Addition.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Derby and a second from Smith to approve pay application number 5 for Larson Contracting for Public Health Building Addition. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
I assume the door's open to the outside,
Yeah, they have to.
so the slow part might be so people like me can get out of the way.
Well, that's, I was gonna think, you don't want them too fast, but there is an adjustment, so.
Yeah, I know you can adjust them, but I was wondering if there is like a set speed that is OSHA approved or something like that, or.
Travis didn't say that. He said that they were he thought they were very, very slow too. And they just have to make it a little bit different timing. So like the inside door of the foyer that opens up when you hit the button, that's a little bit that's way too slow compared to the one on the outside. So the timing isn't quite
But from when you push,
the same.
when you push the button, there's clearance for the door to open and not get hit, right?
Correct.
All right. That's the way we have to set it up to make sure there's clearance from the point of where you push the button. I imagine the Veterans Affairs people are pretty happy about theirs then.
Yes, very much so.
All right, we're gonna consider for approval county claims.
Okay. Now, there's 121,000 for insurance. That is.
That's the company that does the collecting that's the one we just approved.
Yeah. For the.
It goes through that company.
Goes through, it's kind of funny, that's an insurance company that goes through, just kind of. I assumed it was for the construction project because of the amount, because
Yeah.
I was hoping the insurance bill wasn't gonna be that high.
That's a pretty common practice, the architects were saying, on larger projects. Keeps everybody on the up and up.
What percentage are we retaining? Is there a common?
I think it's 10. Either 5 or 10. I can't remember off the top of my head.
But it seems like to me that it's usually 10 for some reason, but
I think it's 10.
I can't say for sure, it just seems like.
I think it's kind of varied from type of project to project. Can't remember what our contract said.
You could math it. It should be right there.
This one or the other, right, both?
Either one of them. They're the same.
%5 retainage on every payment. So it's 5% is every time that we retain, instead of at the end retaining,
Okay.
which on drainage, I think that's how we do it, is at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually only one billing then.
There's not multiple.
So this one should have been stamped, or I would sign this.
Yeah, they both should be stamped approved. One's for me, one's for Chris.
Well, I guess it's, does that part have to be, this is stamped, but is that one gotta be stamped? The copy,
I would assume there's, unless there's
No, the copy.
that's
that
attached
goes-
to this.
That does not need to be stamped.
Okay, this does,
The
but
one
not that.
that
So give me the
Bill's
copy.
got in his hand, that needs to be stamped.
The original. There it is.
Yes, please.
make a motion to approve the county claims.
Second.
Got a motion from Jenslow, a second from Smith to approve the county claims. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Discuss quote from Midwest Waste System,
I still haven't heard back from him, so we'll table that one again.
I did read it, Midwest Waste LLC, correction. All right, we'll table that again till next week.
Yeah. Slide back to open forum for a second.
Sure, open forum.
This waste made me think of it. The landfill out here, I've been approached by a couple of different people about what they will and will not take. And, we have something that, because we have some control over the landfill, right?
Not a
As
lot.
far as, don't we have to approve them every so many years?
We just did recently.
We write up a contract about every 10 years.
But, one of them is, and it actually involves me somewhat. I've got a horse trailer full of old tires I need to get rid of in the landfill out here. At one point would not take them, and now they will take them, but it's $56 a tire. And, the guy in town here, now I could take them to Cerro Gordo, to the, North Iowa landfill, I think it's called, and it's only $8 a tire there. And in theory, from what I understand, they have to take.
Does it have to be from their district though? That's
Well,
what they're covering.
no, Cerro Gordo doesn't have to take my tires because I don't live in Cerro Gordo County. Or if I live in
Wow.
Northern Hancock, I could.
North Iowa landfill, Forest City is a part of that. So the garbage in this facility right here
Well,
goes to North
northern,
Iowa landfill.
northern Hancock is also in
Yeah,
with that. They have a contract with it. So I just assumed that it was the garbage from the Hancock side that could go there, but maybe it's.
but the city of Forest City is a member of that North Iowa landfill.
It just seems like to me that there's a huge discrepancy in why they are charging so much for tires.
Cerro Gordo must have an outlet of how to,
Well, they would
how to
all
get
have
rid
that
of them.
same outlet. I mean, there's places that recycle the tires.
So doesn't Buffalo Center take their garbage to the west to Burt?
Well, it's just a trucking thing. We haul our stuff to Burt, they load it on a semi, haul it to Lake Mills.
Do they take them over there?
I can't take my stuff straight over there. I have to
My
go to
question is,
Burt.
does Burt charge the same as they would?
oh, for tires.
Burt will take them.
Oh, okay.
And, I mean, if you wanna load up a semi-load or whatever, you can take them to, there's a recycling facility in Des Moines, and I think there's one in Minneapolis or something like that, or somewhere up in Minnesota. But, I mean, for $56 a tire, it would pay for me to take mine to Des Moines.
I usually just pay the fee when I get them changed. Try not to keep them.
Well, but the guy that's, and they have to start, in his point over at the tire store over there is that if he had to make the people pay the fee, right now it's like, he was charging, I think, $4 or $5 a tire, but he's upped it to a little more because but he would have to have $56 for tires, and he says, and then everybody will start going somewhere else to get their tires because I can't dispose of my old tires as cheap as other people can. So they'll start going to, Walmart tire service in Mesa City because they're right up front. They're going to get it $50 cheaper for the set of tires because they could go to the landfill in North Iowa, and ours here is much more expensive.
But a tire
It just
store-
seems like to me that if they have to take our, but is there, I guess my question is what do we have for information here on rules for the landfill? I'd like to do some research on it, I guess.
We have a file in our office, you can come look at it.
Okay, that's enough.
All right. We'll go back to the end of our agenda, discuss GO possible debt schedule and timeline.
And I've been in contact with Maggie, she has information.
I talked to her on Thursday too, and she'd just gotten the information from Suzanne.
Yep.
She's working on it, and
So I'd like to table this until we can get back to her again.
Yeah.
Also,
since she was out of town at conference,
yep,
so she was working on it anyway.
yep.
I tried.
What's the latest that we could make some decisions?
Oh, we got a while.
Yeah, we got a few
We got
months,
plenty of time.
but we
Okay.
still need to keep at it.
We need to
kinda-
keep it on that's why I'm keeping it on the agenda, we need to keep it on the forefront, but we have time to make decisions.
Because really it's December, isn't it?
I mean, we need to do the,
It's gonna be more of a decision whether or not we're gonna proceed that direction. That's what we're trying to do right now. We
yeah.
gotta look at all the information available, and, I think, that's where she's gonna be key in this, to present that.
We just need to get the information and all that stuff, but
Right, well, that's tabled, and we'll, stand adjourned.
okey-doke.